The next obvious entity would be post. A user posts to Facebook, so it makes sense to have an entity for that. The post object on the server is again very similar to the post object in the mobile client, as they represent the same logical data. We still need the layer of abstraction, as the server might require additional information that might not be applicable to the client. A post is made by a user. This allows us to query and maintain relational integrity on the posts. The date and title and content of the post are pretty self-explanatory. They contain everything that's important about the post. Visibility represents whether the post is public or for friends only, similarly to the media object. Styling maps directly to the client-side object of the same name, representing the style of the post, such as background type, etc. We need to add a comments entity as well, just like we have in the client side. Notice that they are ordered based on date within the relation. Likes can't be a counter. We need to track the individual users who liked. We need DAO objects both for the post and the comments of the post. As it was with the other entities, the rest of the code is just getters and setters. I'll get to the DAO object soon, but I'd like to first start with the comment object. The user who made the comment isn't necessarily the guy who made the post. The parent comment can be null, but can point at a parent comment for nesting discussion. A comment has a date and text. Notice it doesn't have a parent post, as we don't need to. We get the comments through the post, so we don't need the back reference. The constructor and DAO are pretty standard for this type of object. The rest of the code is getters and setters. There are 4 additional blocks of boilerplate we need to add to get this to work. First, we need the post DAO. The fields are pretty similar to the entity again, with the DAO objects replaced. The constructors are similar to the other DAOs. The rest are getters and setters as usual. Comment DAO is more of the same. There is one tiny difference here. Instead of sending the comment DAO object, we pass the primary key of the parent if applicable. Again, the constructors are as usual. The getters and setters take up the rest of the space. Finally, we need the CRUD repository objects for both entities. I'll start with post repository. This finder method finds a post by a specific user with a specific visibility, for instance public or friend. This finder method finds all the posts by a user. Before invoking it, we need to make sure the user has permission to do so. Notice that the find query returns a page object instead of a list and accepts a pageable value. This is built-in support in Spring for the process of paging. Paging allows us to run a query and go through the results one page at a time. We can request a specific page from the result and specify the amount of items we expect to receive. I'll go over all of these when dealing with the service classes. Notice I did this for elements where we should expect a large volume of responses that should be sent to the end user. The last piece of information is the comment repository, which has nothing interesting. With that, post and comment entities are done. We are left with one last entity that has a client counterpart.